Welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Sequel. This is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels, and we do it in two parts. The first, an interview with an actor or someone involved that made the film worth watching. And the second, a discussion of the sequel, what they got right, what they got wrong, and how it could have been better. I really hope you enjoyed last week's interview with just an amazing guy all around, not even on screen, off. I had a great chat with Gregory S. Cummings. We talked about his little but such a cool role in this week's sequel, Batman Returns. We also talked Bosch being maxed out on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And I loved him talking about the whole audition process of just becoming a bad guy. Now, before we get into a movie that I have not seen in a long time, I have to introduce you to my partner in this sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how you doing, man?
I'm doing awesome, Doug. How are you doing?
I am perfect.
Wow. You know what? I gotta say, we've lately been on a roll of some questionable sequels. You know, Jack Frost 2, Grizzly 2. It was about time to watch a movie that I really enjoyed. You know, and like you, I haven't seen this movie in a long time. It's so good.
Oh,
it's so good.
I have some things that I can get on my chest. I think, and honestly, I am a huge forever. It was like on the Mount Rushmore, I guess not Mount Rushmore, but on the leaderboard of Batman forever. I don't know why. I guess because I haven't watched this in a while. It was always Dark Knight. What Heath Ledger did in that movie, amazing. But this movie, the star power, the people in it, it's unbelievable to have those four people in one movie together.
Well, you know what it is, and I do enjoy the new Batmans, but they're more action movies. These movies, and I watched the first one also last week, so I wanted to watch both of them. This is like a comic book on the screen. I mean, way they filmed it, the comedy, the colors, the music. I mean, so it's a completely different type of Batman movie. I almost prefer this way than the newer ones.
Hell yeah.
This is like so entertaining. And yes, I mean, the star power, but just even Michael Keaton to me is the best Batman. And I wish he continued. I mean, I really do, because I think he as an actor, as Batman, he was the best Batman that there was. Yeah.
And the layers in this one of his character are something that isn't, like you said, the other ones are like we're not talking about Forever and Batman and Robin, but in the newer trilogy, obviously there is a deeper, you learn more about like why and how, but like Bale's great in the role, but it's just like a totally different. But in this movie, it's compared to the first one, since you just watched the first one, it's like he has so much of a different perspective on everything. It's kind of cool that they did that.
Well, I mean, I love the first one because of Jack Nicholson. I mean, he brought a comedy, like it reminded me of like the 60s Batman, the way he did the Joker, but this movie is so much better than the first one. I mean, Jack Nicholson is great in the first one, but I think just, the action is definitely better in this one. The movie goes along, and listen, Catwoman was amazing. I mean, she was awesome. But with that being said, I do have a lot of questions about this movie. So, there's definitely some things that we have to discuss.
No, definitely. And one thing, really, I know these movies don't get a lot of they always get special effects. They always get like makeup and like costumes and set design. But I think it's like a crime that she was not nominated for an Oscar, because there were so many different perspectives and the way she played that character.
Oh, without a doubt. But I do have tons of questions about her. Okay. And I'll tell you what's also a crime is, I don't know if it won any awards, but the scenery in this movie, I mean, Tim Burton, it's like watching what's that Halloween,
Nightmare Before Christmas.
It's like watching that as a movie, because this scenery was incredible. Like it looked like a comic book come to life. It's incredible.
So if you watched the Netflix movies that made us the holiday edition, they did Nightmare Before Christmas. This is the movie that he was working on that he couldn't actually be hands-on in Nightmare Before Christmas. So he was like never around for that movie because he was doing this. But no, you're right. Those shots when they go through the zoo.
Yeah, it looks like
the exact same. Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome.
So let's get right into this. I cannot wait to tell you these facts that are probably going to blow your mind, because some are like, oh my God. And then some, it's like, oh my God. So, so beginning of the movie, first shot we see Pee Wee Herman with a monocle smoking the penguin like cigar, like the cigarette holder.
Well, I mean, I know you're big on like the beginning of movies, and I absolutely love the beginning of this movie. One, I thought I missed something because it really just dives into the movie right away with Peter Herman and his wife, right away. But then even when the credits are going, you have the music, but you have a scene of the baby carriage floating the whole time. So it's like, it just goes like a lot of times when you see credits, it's like, all right, how many more credits we got to go through? But like, I wasn't thinking that. I'm like, all right, we're watching a movie as the credits are going. So that was very cool. No.
And did you notice who Pee Wee's wife was? So Tim Burton has this theme of using a lot of the same people.
She looked like Leslie. No, it was no. It looked like Susan Sarandon, but it wasn't her. But like Leslie Ann, was it Leslie Ann Down? Leslie Ann Warren? I don't know.
Leslie Ann Dawn? That's
no, Warren.
Oh, no, this was the waitress that Pee Wee falls in love with in Pee Wee's Big Adventure, the one that's dating that monster guy.
Oh yeah. Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So here's the first mind-blowing fact. Burgess Meredith was going to play that role, but he got sick and he wasn't able to be. It would have been weird for him to be the father because he'd been really old, but I guess they could have done makeup to make him look younger, and that would have been such a cool.
That would have been awesome. Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Yeah. But
I'll tell you right now, this role was made for Danny DeVito. I mean, there's no one else that could have. I mean, first of all, he was the right height, and I mean, this role was made for him.
Well, the role was offered to somebody else first.
Oh my goodness.
It's funny because it says in the documentary I watched, which is really good on YouTube, Batman Returns, it said that he was like made for the role. When the guy wrote the movie, he was like, I thought of that without him being it. But the first one the studio wanted, Dustin Hoffman. And again, thank God it didn't happen because it wouldn't have worked. But you know why I think? Because he just because to have an actor, you can pick whoever you want for these roles, but they have to be used to being in makeup. And he just did Dick Tracy like the year before, probably.
Well, I mean, honestly, I could see that. I could see. No, I can't. What
would he have done? Walked around his knees?
Dustin Hoffman's, he's short. He's not tall.
How tall is Keaton? Hollywood people aren't tall.
He's tall. Dustin Hoffman is small. I mean, he's not as small as Danny DeVito, but I'm almost willing to bet he's much smaller than Michael Keaton. So that and it makes sense because that's why listen, they went after the two shortest people in Hollywood. So but he's the way he acts, and yeah, he was great in Dick Tracy. I think Dustin Hoffman could have done it.
Ooh.
Now, could he have done it as well as Danny DeVito? Absolutely not. But if they couldn't get him, I think he would have been okay.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So when we get to the other ones, I'm excited to hear those too. So yeah, so he's like this kid when they go in, she's having the baby and you just hear him, he runs into the room. The maid's like, oh, she's ready. And he just screams. And then they show this baby in like a dog cage. And the cat's outside of it. They're drinking the martinis, staring out the window. And the hands come through, pull the cat in, and you just hear, arr!
This movie is very dark. I mean, again, like they have a baby in a dog crate, and they later on they want to kill babies. So it's a pretty dark movie.
So would you say, since you just watched Batman, would you say that this is like so much darker than the first one? Because there's some freaky scenes, like when Joker has that first time he is getting fixed up by that guy and you sort of see him a little bit and he smashes the mirror. Some of that stuff's really freaky in that movie.
It is. But again, because Jack Nicholson really played like the comic angle of the Joker, it wasn't, and I don't feel like it was as dark. I mean, the whole Selena part is super dark throughout the whole movie. And I mean, honestly, through this whole movie, you kind of feel for the Penguin. I know he's a big villain. But first of all, like he didn't start off as a villain. Max made him the villain that he became. So I just again, it's his whole history of what his family like. So it was definitely way darker than the first one, I think.
No. So people say that this is like, they almost say it's over the top, this movie, which I don't think it's over the top. I think it's like great. I love it.
Yeah.
Everything about it. So
what they say it was over the top? Like what's over the top about
how
it?
dark it is, and that Batman actually kills someone in this movie. Like officially.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you know what? Batman is a dark story. I mean, listen, as dark as it was, there was rarely any blood. You know, like again, it was still very comic booky. So, like, imagine people complaining how dark it was back then, and then you watch the new ones today.
No, I know.
Yeah, I mean, like,
so what do you think? Like, just before we talk about like this whole thing was a pre-title sequence, but how many people were walking their babies in a snowstorm on Christmas? It was snowing a lot, and there was like, I love how fast they were almost like. It was almost like they had like something in the oven that just came out and they needed to get back so quick because the wheels were like coming off the ground. And then when they saw the other people, they slowed up for a second. And then when they walked past, they got faster. And just how dark it is seeing two people just tossing their baby carriage in the water.
Right away, I'm like, that's pretty sick. I mean, it is. I mean, but what is that basket made of? Because it lasts a long time in water. You know, I'm assuming baskets, water could seep right through there. So how is it like not sinking?
Well, they are super rich, so maybe it had like a flotation special thing to it.
I guess. Yeah, I mean, and it travels pretty far.
It does.
So I mean,
sinking.
Yeah.
So where is Gotham City? It's always like it's supposed to be New York, always, right? Gotham.
Yeah, I mean, I think it gets near New York. There's my question. So, like, originally, when the basket goes, does he go to Antarctica? Like, where are penguins? Like, where do penguins live?
Exactly. So where he goes to is the zoo, like where the zoo was in Gotham. But where do the penguins go in the summer?
But that's where he went 33 years later. Like, I don't think he originally floated to the zoo.
Where he floated to, because he goes back the same way at the end of the movie. He takes the same way home.
He was floating for a long time. It seemed like Gotham doesn't seem like that big of a city. So you're telling me like there's just one like little river or whatever stream that goes directly everywhere, and it
flows exactly into the zoo.
Yeah. And is that zoo like? So here's one of the questions I had: is the zoo an active zoo?
I was thinking it was active then, and then what happened? Did Gotham shut the zoo down and leave the animals,
or just leave the penguins? Because I mean, you didn't see any other animals there.
No, I know.
And not for nothing, there's a massive lair in the zoo. Who built that?
Penguin over the years? The penguin?
Well, okay, so I'm going to go right into that part. So, I mean, we're not even there yet, but I do have a question about the penguin's ability in 33 years to make the inventions that he does when he doesn't have hands and all he's surrounded by are other penguins. And nobody's seen him for 33 years because they think he's like a myth, like is the Penguin Man real or whatever? Like they didn't think it was real. So where's he getting all the supplies from?
So yeah, and then I was thinking because one thing they never mentioned, and so the one like connection to the first one was like the Red Triangle Gang, which you only see like a few of the guys with it. So you don't know when they were connected until later in the movie. So he has other people around. So it's not just the penguins, but I thought the same thing. Like, it's funny when we do these notes and you're watching a movie, I've wrote a bunch of notes that later in the movie contradicted what I said earlier, but no, exactly what you just said. Penguin Man in Gotham City. So if somebody thought there was a Penguin Man in Gotham City, wouldn't they go to the place where the penguins used to be and say, oh, I found him? That's like if it was like Bigfoot's old house and nobody's like, I don't know where Bigfoot is. And they just go in the house and he's there.
Well, clearly they didn't care about any penguins at all because again, there was no other animal in that zoo but penguins.
Where's PETA? Where was PETA then? Right?
Yeah, no, you're right.
So in this movie, PETA wise, they were like, hey, if you're going to use real penguins, you got to treat them well. They had their own trailer. The movie set was, when they were filming that, 35 degrees. So everyone was freezing their asses off. And they got a half a ton of ice a day to play in. And they got so much fresh fish all day long.
So they got fresh fish. They had their own trailer. Are they in SAG?
Oh, I would hope so. I don't know. Maybe one of them, they shot missiles.
They did.
They could be in SAG.
Talking about Danny DeVito, before we even just his character, what do you think of his look?
Oh, dude, I love it. And one thing I really wanted to talk to you about is the fact that I love when they don't reveal. And I was thinking about this. I was like 6 years old when this came out, but there was a big thing. They didn't want it to come out. Kind of like what right now with Mike Marino, who we interviewed on the new the Batman. The photos are showing are like really distant photos of Colin Farrell as the Penguin. Yep. So in this movie, I loved seeing just like him walk. You could barely see him. You see shadows. I loved every part of that.
Okay. So I'm a little indifferent about it. So I love the way when he's dressed up with the hat and everything. I think he looks great. However, when he's walking around in his underwear onesie from, like that from the old West, like those old, like that's what he wears most of the time.
Yeah.
It looks like he's stuffed with pillows. Like his body is so weirdly shaped. Like he's got these skinny legs. And then like, I feel like the costume underneath wasn't, up to par. He just looked a little ridiculous. And why is he always walking around in onesies, the onesie underwear, the whole movie? All right.
But he is a penguin shape. If you think about it, I know it's weirdly shaped, but he is shaped like a penguin.
Well, I mean, penguins have flat feet right to their bottom. Like he's got these long, like skinny legs, and then he's shaped like a pear, like in a movie, I guess, But do they ever explain the need for an umbrella? Because I mean, even in the old show, like he always had an umbrella. But what's the purpose of the umbrella for the penguin?
I don't know. Maybe there was one of the things he did, or like acid rain or something. I don't know, because he always had one. Always had an umbrella. And this whole movie, it's all about umbrellas. So maybe they wanted to keep that in, because remember, he was like, I'm not saying rich people only had umbrellas back then, but that was like one of those things, because he had the top hat, the monocle, because he was like a rich, over the top, like colorful character when Burgess Meredith did it. So he always had the umbrella. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. And then here's my other question. What's that black crap that keeps coming out of his mouth?
Well, it's like green. I don't know what that is. I don't know if penguins bleed green.
Yeah, but see,
black.
Okay. So it's black in the beginning and then green later on. His teeth are disgusting. Yeah. And I'm thinking like, all right, what is that crap? Maybe it's because he's cold, the blood, But at the end of the movie, he's bleeding red at his head when he comes out of the water.
Ooh.
So it's not blood. So what is that black green crap that comes out of his mouth?
Maybe it's like algae. Maybe penguins get algae in their sinus. I have no idea.
I've never seen a penguin green goop coming out of their mouth.
All right. If there's any penguin experts listening, but no, that grosses me out. There's a couple of them that are super gross so I love when you see his hands when they're talking about Penguin Man in Gotham City, and you see the hands on the bars, and he's like, "Oh, but you will." And I love that he didn't even reveal his voice really yet, because it was like this really like whisper. And then we see, Alfred's doing the shopping for Bruce. He turns around and he's like, he feels him watching him, but he's not really there.
So he basically gets adopted by penguins, right? With the basket. Like, so was he born a penguin? Like, did the mom have an affair with a penguin? Because I mean, like, he turned into a penguin by just being adopted by a penguin. He's eating fish. He's shaped like a penguin. I don't know. I'd be questioning if the mom had an affair with a penguin.
Like the Bud Light penguins. Doobie-doo. So I guess it was like kind of like, again, another thing that's revealed later in the movie that I didn't even know. I guess the comics weren't, he wasn't shaped like a penguin, and Burgess Meredith didn't have penguin hands, but it's like the freak show in the circus. So I guess he was born with the flippers, but I don't know if everything else was like that. That's all right. That was,
I mean, he's eating raw fish, only raw fish. And
I love that part. When he walks down,
that is
that scene is unreal.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So we first time we see Christopher Walken, which, oh my God, dude, he crushes that as Max Schreck. And there's so many undertones to his character, because Max Schreck's the actor who played Nosferatu in like the first like huge vampire horror movie. And man, he's so amazing. And there's people who are going to play it before him.
But well, I'm sure you're going to tell me.
Yeah,
right?
you go first.
Okay, well, I was going to say, did they say why they make him look like Mozart? Because he looks like Mozart with the hair.
He does.
I mean, even the picture, you throw like a piano in front of him, he looks like he could play the piano. Like, was he a character in the comics? Like, I never even heard of the, like.
So I saw. That's a good question. Maybe after this they put him into comics or something. But so here's the thing. This is what's really cool, and this is like why, kind of something that we appreciate when it comes to sequels. So if they have a movie come out and somebody says, I don't want to be in it, when they throw some Joe Schmo, like not obviously Stuart Fratkin because he crushed it as Styles, but the coach just was so different than the other coach in the first one. So like those things. This movie, Billy D. Williams was going to be Harvey Dent again, and they were going to have the whole Harvey Dent, which we'll talk about it at the end of this movie. So he was Harvey Dent. Like that was Billy D. Williams. So once Billy D said, I'm not going to do it, they were like, oh, well, screw it. Then we're going to have this whole different character. So again, David Bowie was almost up for the main role. He was almost Joker, David Bowie.
Oh,
I know.
Oh man. All right.
So he was almost up for Shrek. He turned it down to do David Lynch's Twin Peaks Firewalk with.
Was it Labyrinth that he was in? David Bowie?
80s.
Okay. All right. So this is way before. Okay.
This is way after.
No, but I mean, talking about Labyrinth was way before.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, so that was
Yikes.
Insane that they were going to do that. But yeah, so
you're telling me Christopher Walken was like sloppy seconds to David Bowie for this role. That's insane.
And I don't know if it was exactly that, but the casting director for the movie, which I'd love to be able to talk to this guy, his name's Marion Doherty. He said that the reason Burton didn't want to hire him was he was scared of him, which I get it.
Scared of who?
Walken.
Well, you should be scared of him. I mean, he's a nut job. I mean, but to me, like, imagine going from David Bowie, like, we really want to fine. We'll settle for Christopher Walken. Like, really? Like, are you kidding me? Like,
this is honestly, I don't know what lists are out there. I haven't looked, but this is like his top 10 roles. I love him in this role. His line delivery, we'll get into the part that comes up pretty soon.
He's typical Christopher Walken in this role. I mean, it's so great.
And then, so there's the meeting going on with the mayor and Max Schreck. And then we see Michelle Pfeiffer, who is obviously just a smoke show, amazing actress. They make her look so mousy, right?
I was going to say very frumpy and still looks hot. Like, I mean, like they tried to like unhot her, like her hair messy and like, and she still looked incredible. Like you can't, someone like her, especially back then, you can't make ugly. I mean, no matter what you try. So no, to me, she crushed. Like, she's a huge part of this movie. She crushed it. I mean, every scene.
So here a few. So are you sitting down? You ready? Who was the original Catwoman?
Oh my goodness.
So listen to this. Michelle Pfeiffer was way down on the list. Ready? Annette Bening.
Oh, that was the first choice. That was their number one choice.
Thank God she got pregnant. That's Warren Beatty's wife, right?
I know. Yeah. Wait.
Thank you, Warren Beatty.
So she turned it down because she got pregnant?
Yeah, well, she was already in it, but she got pregnant.
Oh my goodness.
Thank God that Warren Beatty slipped one past the goalie.
Wow.
So you ready for the other people that were so Raquel Welch, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Madonna. There would have been like a Madonna song about Catwoman.
Oh.
Ellen Barkin, who again, she wouldn't be but she has that. She's the only one out of the list that has like that sassiness, I guess. Cher, Bridget Fonda, Lorraine.
Young. Wait, she looks. Wait, you're telling me Raquel Welch or Bridget Fonda? I mean, Raquel Welch back then had to be like almost 50, right? I mean,
easily.
Like right. So, and Bridget Fonda was probably in her 20s. So they're going.
Lorraine Bracco, Jennifer Beals, and Susan Sarandon.
I have to be honest with you. I don't like any of them. I mean, And even if I mean, we're biased. I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer was just awesome in it.
Yeah.
But even if you take her out of the mix, I can't see them having the same chemistry with Batman and the same chemistry with, the Penguin. Like, I mean, like, I really like, those are horrible choices. And she was the bottom of the list.
Yeah. So she was like in the running of it. But again, I know she's like she has brown hair. So dyed it blonde and everything. But a lot of these other people aren't blonde. So I'm like, would they have played it that way? I know she isn't always a blonde, like in the old show. I forget her name. There was 2 Catwomen back in the day. Eartha Kitt
was one of them.
Yeah, but so again, they had darker hair.
Yeah,
but I just don't imagine it. So Sean Young, who was actually supposed to play Vicky Vale, she said this role should have gone to her because she was already probably getting a little wacky at that point. But yeah, so Burton knew nothing about Michelle Pfeiffer because she did have some movies, obviously, up to this point. She did a lot, but he was unfamiliar. But after one meeting, he cast her, and he actually paid her more than Benning was because they said that her being attached to the movie is going to make it more. So she got $3 million for this role. But when she read for it, she only thought she was going to be in a couple scenes, no character development or anything. And she was so excited because they were keeping this movie close to the vest. When she read the script, she was so happy.
When did Grease 2 come out? Like
82, 83. Okay.
So just seeing her in that leather, they should have said, you know what? She's perfect for this role.
Yeah.
But holy cow, like what a list. Oh. Wow. Well, you know what? I'm glad because, like I said, I think she absolutely crushed it. I mean, she was awesome.
Yeah, and she was all about it. She did the kickboxing lessons. She became like a master whip artist, which is.
Oh, really?
Oh, well, dude.
Yeah. I do. Again, I have a lot of questions about her character, though. So
So yeah, they have that meeting. He's trying to get Max Shrek is trying to get the city to install like a power plant, and the mayor's saying, "Well, why do we need one? We have enough energy for the next 50 years." Blah 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 blah. And so then we see like a little bit of the Penguin. He's like walking a little bit more, getting a little more like slow build, which I think is so great. And dude, I love this whole scene. Like when they go down to give the speech, and man, it is like so chaotic and it's so cool because you see the big present come out of nowhere while he's giving the speech. He's like, "I'm no Santa Claus." And then the big present and just everyone flying out of everywhere.
Well, that's what's great about these 2 movies, the first one and this one, is because there's always chaos when it comes to the bad guys. They always seem to have like trapeze, people running around. Like it's always like a gang, like today, like when you watch the Batman movies today, he's, the Joker was followed by a gang, but like these guys are like, just like really like so chaotic. I mean, and this gang is very similar to the first gang, except they up the ante a lot in this movie. Like, again, they're all circus performers. So they're constantly doing flips and doing crazy stuff. And yeah, it was pretty awesome.
I did wish they gotten out of a clown car and like 40 of them came out.
Do you think they're always wearing clown makeup? Because I mean, in the lair, they're always wearing it too.
Yeah, I think maybe it's permanent. Maybe that's they came out and they were clowns.
So their moms had an affair with a clown.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of affairs going on in Gotham.
Hey, big shoes. Do you think when the baby came out, the dad was like, "What is it?" It's like a clown. And he's like, "What the hell, man?" I'm about to punch him in the face. But so there's a lot of people in the gang when we get to their parts. So the first one was the guy that has the monkey with the machine gun. That's the guy that's in a million things. He plays.
He's in 1,000 movies. Yep. Yeah, he's in 1,000 movies.
Yeah, and one of the notes I wrote, obviously it doesn't make sense now. Where do you find this henchman? All these henchmen. Well, we find out later in the movie, like how he found all of them. But at this point, I forgot that. I'm like, how the hell do you find a bunch of clowns? You put an ad in the paper, but obviously that's changed.
Well, of course they went to clown school.
Well,
there is a school. Yeah, of course.
It's harder to get into clown school than Harvard University.
I believe that.
So I do love the first time. I do like the way they use again, I think it's perfect, this movie, because everybody gets equal screen time out of the 3 stars. Really, if we sat there with a stopwatch, I bet you it's pretty even. But I do love the first time you see Michael Keaton. It's just like him sitting there. They're like, Pat Hingle, Commissioner Gordon's like, why haven't you hit the signal? And you see him sitting in this thing, black turtleneck on, sees it, and then it's go time.
See, again, it's his acting as Bruce Wayne to me, like it fits so well, you know. But I almost feel like Catwoman has the most screen time out of everybody.
Yeah, she has the most story development because we're seeing her from the beginning. We don't really know anything beforehand. Besides,
but I think Batman has the least screen time. I think Bruce Wayne, you know, because he's got a mix with Bruce Wayne. But I mean, when it comes to Batman, he's only in like a couple scenes. You know, I feel like really, I think the movie revolves around Michelle Pfeiffer.
No, which I think it's great the way they did because we know Batman, we know his origin story already, so it's not like we have to do that.
Right.
So the writer of this movie had all these like monologues for Michael Keaton when he's Batman, and he goes, "Yeah, Batman wouldn't say all that." So he might add more screen time, but he was smart. He was like, less is more, because he wanted to be even more darker in this movie, and I think he was.
Did you ever read why he never wanted, like why he wanted to stop? Like what? Like
I don't know. I think maybe him and Burton just had a thing like, hey, I'm not going to do it anymore, and it's a shame.
Or maybe he commanded too much money.
Dude, he got $12 million for this movie
back then,
and Burton was like, he deserved it. Like he took on that character, and yeah. So this whole part is so cool. Like, and the fact that Shrek is such a chump, total chump. Like he lets his son, who's played by Andrew Renarski, who actually plays the newer Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the program, Latimer. I love that guy. He's like, Dad, run, save yourself.
That's where he's Vladimir. I look so familiar, and oh wow, okay, that's awesome.
Latimer, and he's in. I feel like he's in Necessary Roughness too. All those guys are in every football movie for 10 years. But yeah, so he's like, hey, Dad, go save yourself. And right away, Walken's like, what a terrible dad.
Well, he listen, you know what? Christopher Walken, the whole movie, I mean, even like when things started going south for the Penguin at the speech, he like slowly dips away. Like he really he doesn't have anyone's back in this movie at all.
He has no spine. He's just like literally like, oh, things are going well for you. See you, son. That whole part is just great. And again, Batman arrives. His Batmobile has the button to have those things come out to trip the clowns. Oh,
he literally has a button for everything. Oh. Like really, like any scenario possible to trip clowns. You know, let's put a button in. Like what made him decide to put that in there just in case there's clowns on the side? Like he goes, we got to have this just in case.
I love the devil blowing the fire into the toy store, and then the two guys jump on the car, the Batmobile. He tosses them in, and I love the part that's so cool is the fact that not only that he uses the Batmobile like thrusters to like blow the flames on that guy, is how long it takes for it to move. Why would that guy stand there? And then he thought he could like have more flame than what's happening.
Well, I mean, the henchmen don't seem like the brightest group.
Never.
I mean, and I'm surprised they even like talk, because I mean, most of them don't even talk. I mean, the fact that the Penguin was adopted as a baby by penguins, like, wouldn't he speak Penguin?
Well, I don't know. They should have that in the movie. Him doing some
because he does communicate with the penguins.
Do you imagine like a full scene of just subtitles?
What does a penguin sound like?
Me, 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 me. Like kind of like Beaker.
Like Beaker?
Yeah, kind of like Beaker. Could you imagine that scene of them just doing that back and forth? They probably had to cut it. People were like, hey, what's happening? But one of the, like, there's so many iconic parts of this movie. And I know that's a word that gets thrown around a lot, but there's just ones that like are like so ingrained in my memory. And I think of all like fans of Batman, and really it's just like of Batman, you think of the first two movies, and I know you think of the newer ones, but really not really. But the scene when Selena Kyle, because she forgets a Shrek speech, she's like, oh crap, I have to run it down. And when that guy grabs her, which I think that guy is in a ton of stuff, the guy that's the clown henchman that grabs her.
Yep.
But when he's holding her with the taser, Batman shoots and misses, and the guy's like, you missed?
And he pulls it out. How great was that? Yeah. But see, that's what Batman's all about in the comics. Like things like that. Like you don't see that in the movies today. Like, but that's classic. Like that was so great. I just one thing I noticed back with Selena is she seems to be very against secretaries. Like meaning like I think 2 or 3 times they said, "You're a secretary? No, I'm an administrative assistant." Or I'm not a lowly secretary. Like I feel like they were insulting secretaries a lot in this movie.
No, I think the whole thing, I think they just wanted to get the other term because secretary on that time was like a derogatory-ish. So yeah, this whole movie, her whole character is kind of a feminist because
I know that, but why would secretary be? What do you mean it's derogatory?
Because it doesn't sound as good as administrative assistant. Which one sounds better?
And so everyone who's a secretary the entire life right now is listening and saying, "Damn it! I mean, you've been called an administrative assistant all this time."
What sounds sexier? What will get you laid? Janitor or custodial engineer?
Well, again, so now you're not only insulting secretaries out there, but now janitors.
I'm just saying, use the sexier term, and janitors are going to get laid now.
Yikes!
And then when they ask, "What do you do?" Custodial. So I love when Selena, like the power, you see her like she has the power, like the feminist thing I just mentioned. So when she grabs that taser, she's just tasing his lifeless body. It's like, and she's just like loving it. See that grin in her face.
Well, I think what's great is like, after she does that, because, she's been treated like crap. You could tell, like, based on her lonely life. Oh, honey, I'm home. That's right. I don't have,
I
so
love
you can see
that.
like she's treated bad, like from guys, pretty much her whole life. So when she tases that guy and then she giggles and you're like, all right, that's the last we're going to see of that taser. No, it's not.
It is not. So this is the first time we actually fully see the Penguin, and it's so good. So this is Devito, a quote by him. And then I'll tell you the other people are up for the role that you're gonna. Oh my god! So he says it was a 4.5 hours of makeup and getting to the costume. We got it down to 3 hours by the end of the shoot. So Dustin Hoffman, like I mentioned, was originally the first choice, but he declined. Apart from Hoffman, Marlon Brando. Can you? Here's what I'll do. When I say him, just say yes or no.
Okay. No.
So, no. John Candy.
Well, he already had the shape, so they just. So I see where they're going. So you notice that the 2 short guys, Dustin Hoffman and Danny DeVito, now they're going for fat. Marlon Brando and John Candy. So trying to save money on the budget. So they're going like, all right, where are we going to use less makeup?
Do you imagine if this movie was David Bowie, Marlon Brando, and who was the other? Oh, Annette Bening.
So let me guess. Louis Anderson was also considered.
No, but you ready? Bob Hoskins.
Wait, for the Penguin? See, yeah. I can see him I can see him as Max.
Oh yeah. So no, I don't even know who's Ralph Waite.
No idea.
So no.
Wait, so he was ahead of Danny DeVito, Ralph Waits?
I don't know if they were ahead, but it said they were all considered part. Yeah, before DeVito got it.
Ralph Waits.
So we'll go through this quick, but again, yes or no. Dean Martin.
Oh no.
Dudley Moore.
No.
Alan Rickman.
No. Again, I could see him as Max. Alan Rickman.
So all these people you think should have went in for Max.
Yeah.
John Goodman.
Fat. See, I bet you John Waite, or whatever that guy's name is, he's probably fat or short.
Oh, Ralph Waite, yeah. So no, okay.
No.
This one would have fit with David Bowie. If David Bowie had the role,
Mick Jagger.
Collins.
I thought you were gonna say Mick Jagger.
That's close enough. Charles Grodin.
Oh no.
Dude, could you imagine him in this role?
Oh, so for him, he's such a deadpan kind of like comedy, too serious, like with no fit. Like it's horrible. Like really,
I can't imagine any of these people actually eating a real fish.
To me, Danny DeVito like should have been like the first. I'm just watching Taxi. You're like, this guy's perfect for the Penguin.
So, Christopher Lee, Captain
Max.
America 2.
I can see him as Max.
Joe Pesci.
All right. I mean, again, we're going short now. See, do you see the trend?
Yeah. Fuck you, you fucking Batman. What
do you think? What do you think? I'm a penguin?
Hey, Catwoman, go get your shine box. So Ray Liotta, Gabriel Byrne, Alex Rocco. I don't know who that is, but the last one, a fellow Taxi co-star.
No, don't tell me Alex Tony Danza or Alex Rieger, whatever.
Christopher Lloyd. Oh. Great Scott.
I could see him as Max. I could see. Are you sure you're not reading the wrong list? Like, are you sure it's not a list for Max? Because I could see a lot of those from the role of Max, not for Penguin.
Well, if you want to reach out to the casting director, we can get down to the nitty gritty. But yeah,
holy cow!
So again, like I mentioned, like when we write these notes, we're doing them in a row, and then like later on we find some. But it was funny. Everybody in the gang was a clown except the girl and her dog, and I was just like, little Bo Peep and her dog. And at first I thought that was Cyndi Lauper. I don't know why.
Why not? They already had David Bowie and whatever.
Could you imagine this movie with a net?
Horrible.
Oh no, Madonna. What if it was Madonna?
That's like Madonna, Phil Collins, and David Bowie.
And it could have been a musical at one point. It could have just broken the song. Batman, the musical.
So back to Selena. She's clearly a mess, right? I don't know if Max would actually hire. He's like a billionaire. He's like the Donald Trump. Like he's walking around with tons of money. Why would he hire such a mess of a secretary? Because she's not good at her job.
So I think that's what he wanted. He wanted somebody that wasn't ambitious, so they wouldn't figure out what he was really doing.
Okay. Yeah, but she obviously also made a lot of mistakes. So.
Oh, I know. No, she was not good. So then we have Penguin this is the first time his nose is like bleeding. And he's talking to Shrek down there. And I absolutely love this scene when he talks about like, when you flush it down, I keep it, like that whole thing. Yeah, and his evidence against him was the paper.
Well, the quote, and I wrote it down, was, "What you put in your toilet, I put on my mantle."
Yeah. And he goes, if there's any documents, I'd probably just have a secretary shred them up. And then he's like, well, you know what? Scotch tape and a lot of
years of or something like.
And I love that it's just like all Scotch tape paper. And I love, what about your business associate, Fred? He goes, oh, Fred, he went on an extended vacation. He pulls the hand out. And then when
well, that the next part is the best. When he uses it to shake his hand.
Oh, and I love that Walken like holds it for a few seconds, even realize it. I love that whole part.
And he doesn't look like freaked out about it. He's still holding on to it. Like if someone did that to you and you're holding a dead, bloody, like it looked like it had some of the guts hanging out still a little bit. Like when you like throw it and like yell, like he's just he's still shaking.
Or you, because we never killed anybody, but I think Max has killed many people.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's held on to their limbs like that. I mean, I think killing someone and then walking away is a little different than killing them and holding body parts.
Maybe he has the matching one at home. Put it right on the mantle. There's a couple of good walk-ins when I listen to this back. I'm going to be impressed, I think.
Well, all right, we'll see.
Watch out, Jay Moore.
Who's that?
Snubbed us, guys.
Yeah, I was going to say, who's that?
So this whole scene, Selena, when she gets home, I absolutely love her. Like, honey, I'm home. Oh, what are you talking about, Selena? You don't have but the thing that's crazy is when she checks her answering machine.
Yeah.
And she had a boy.
Yeah.
But did she, so this is what I want to know. Was she like, they must've been serious and they broke up, but they were serious enough that he was going to see someone. So they were both living single for that long, I guess.
Well, I think they definitely were serious, and I think he totally destroyed her mentally.
Oh.
Because I'm going to say they had a very active sex life, and I'm saying that because she owns a whip and a gimp outfit. Like she has a full leather outfit, based on how she's dressed, and when you go to her closet, like she's got a cat sweater. That leather outfit does not belong with the rest of her clothes she has, and she has a whip.
And
So
she has
there's
stuffed animals. So if you ever
and
saw
stuff.
the movie Tomcats, if they have stuffed animals on their bed,
See, so there's definitely a dark side to her that I think was destroyed from this guy.
oh, but it was just weird hearing that because I don't remember that part of it when it's like, yeah, I talked to my psychiatrist and
Yeah.
he thinks I should go alone. When I go away, I should go alone. And it's like, oh man, it just crushed her. And then her mom calling and being like a total bitch, like Selena, call your mother. And
Yep.
then and then Selena, you had to come back and brush yourself. So it's weird. The voicemail says, I didn't know if you picked this up, but it said you have to brush up for the Bruce Wayne meeting on, I swear it said on Wednesday, but it must be tomorrow because it's the next day that Bruce comes in for the meeting. But I'm like, did they say Wednesday? I should have went back to double check. But I thought that and I'm like, oh, why the hell does she have to go back so quick? But yeah, this is where, so she snooped and she found out because Shrek comes back and he's pissed, man. He's ready to, he just felt Fred's dead arm and he's like, I need to feel another dead arm.
Well, it also started with the fact that he didn't have his speech with him.
But
that's why he got.
Oh yeah, remember what he said? He goes, "Remind me to rough her up."
Yeah, right. So so that's really what got him like really to the point of like wanting to take care of her. It had nothing to do with her snooping because he didn't know about that yet. It was because she lost his speech.
Yeah,
and then on the way home, she lost it even more when she got attacked by that guy.
Yes,
so
that is true.
So that's why she went back to the office, I think. I thought to bring the speech back or something.
No, she had to brush up on some lady that worked there said you have to brush up on the Bruce Wayne for the meeting. Like friggin' Shrek doesn't know about Bruce Wayne. Like what's
right?
And he hates Bruce. That's how quick he turns on the most influential man in the city because he's making more money than Shrek.
And say I think this was typical Christopher Walken when he was like kind of threatening her. Like I thought this scene was great, and then he was kind of faking it. He's like, huh? Like I thought that was so great.
And the foreshadowing before that, when he said, "You know what happened what did curiosity do to the cat?"
Yep.
And then when he does the and shoves her through, and then just like looks down at her, I'm like, oh my god. And then another thing I thought, I'm like, all right, so she died. Like if everything went well, so somebody died that worked for him. Like, was there cameras that saw he was there, or like, wouldn't he have gone and got the body or something? That would have been cool if he went down there and it was gone. But later, it's so much better the next day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it's not the first person he's killed. So I'm assuming. What?
Fred, he killed Fred.
No, I know, but I mean, but other people. I'm sure there's no cameras around because you know. So, but yeah, this is a great scene, but this is the start of questions that I have.
What are you talking about? How she gets licked back to life?
Well, that's one. I mean, or no, I don't even know if the licking or the biting of the fingers brought her back to life.
That grossed me out.
But so is she like a zombie? Because like the way she woke up was like a zombie, and like again, like because she was getting licked by now these are regular cats. Like it was just like I think the explanation of how she becomes Catwoman and all of a sudden drinks milk as soon as she gets home, and like and again she acts like she has a dual personality now. I feel like the explanation of how she becomes Catwoman was kind of weak.
Yeah, I wonder if in the comic it was just that because she was like a cat burglar,
right?
She just wore like the thing in the old movies,
right?
So I guess there's no like, I don't think there's any satisfying way.
No, but she also learns flips and karate now. Like she didn't have that any before. I mean, like I just again, and even like when they're showing you like she's making these nails, I'm like, all right, cool. She's making her own costume. But those nails retract.
Oh, I know. Then that's what's weird too. When she has those nails and she's looking at them, and then later she goes like that, and
she literally puts it on her finger like a thimble. Yeah. Like when she first gets that first nail, she puts it on a thimble, but then later on they come out. So like, I mean, like I feel like I guess the movie would have been so much longer if they really gave a good explanation. They had to like throw something together. I just felt like it was kind of weak and just really not explaining how she becomes a Catwoman.
Yeah. No, I understand that. I just don't know any way. Like, even in my head, like when we're doing these sometimes and we like think, I don't even have anything that could be even, but Burton, like when they were doing this scene, he thought this is like when he was like, wow, she was perfect. They covered her in tuna. And the cats are like licking her,
Oh
and
wow.
like she was like doing like the like catatonic, like the eyes in the back of her head. No, that's man, that's.
Do you think the cats had a better trailer than the penguins?
I hope not. I don't like cats. But no, I love I think the coolest thing. I'm sure somebody has a cut on YouTube, or I guess you could just do it on your own. Watching those two scenes when she gets home back to back. The next time when she comes home, the door flies open. Same thing, just in that dead voice, and listening to the answer machine. And I love when she's drinking the milk. She like pours it to the cat, pours it all over the floor, and then drinks it. And did you listen to the one voicemail? It was like Gotham perfume. Wear it to the office, and your boss will make you stay late and invite you to dinner. And then that's when she freaks out and starts ripping it out of the wall because her boss just tried to kill her. And that whole scene I love that whole.
Oh, you see how psychotic she is. But you know what? Maybe I wonder, like that answer machine, because you know, I obviously had a sexual undertone, but between her and the penguin, there's a lot of sexual undertone. So I wonder, like, if this spurred her, like maybe like she had this cat thing inside her, kind of like just I don't know, like a personality or something.
Yeah, she played the role perfect, but
no, but again, the fact that she had this whip already, she had the leather, pretty much the leather outfit, which I don't understand how she gets in there, because I'm trying to figure out where like it zips up, and I just seems bizarre.
So the real way she got in, they actually put her in and then vacuum out all the air, and she can only wear it at like 15 minutes a time because she would like pass out. Yeah.
She looked incredible.
I love that in her room earlier when we see her go into that one room, it says hello there, and then she breaks it. So it says hell here. And when she's in that outfit the first time through the window and the cats are there, it's like, so cool.
Yeah.
I love that. I would love that as a poster. That would be.
Well, the other thing that she does was kind of weird. And I'm not sure it's actually possible, but she takes all her stuffed animals and throws it down the garbage disposal.
Yeah.
How does that fit? How would that fit in the sink in the garbage disposal?
Well, it shreds them all up. They go right down, man.
It's not going to fit down the pipes. She never like
go into pipes. You never had a garbage disposal.
I've known people that had them, and there's no way you're fitting those animals in there. And you grab like 10 at a time and throws it in there.
But it doesn't go into a sink. It goes into a separate container.
Yeah, I know, but it's still got to fit down the drain.
Again, the fact that like we talked about it before, just everything in her apartment, but it is that cliche of like having she has like the whip, she has the leather outfit, and she has stuffed animals everywhere, and a dollhouse that she smashes up like.
It's almost like her inner child she was getting rid of.
Well, I think her mom, the way you hear her mom talk to her in the voicemail, like, Selena, it's your mother, call. Like, yeah. So the next scene is Greg's scene, Gregory S. Cummings. I love that whole part when the mayor's like, I denounce everything that happened at the tree lighting. And the fact that he comes in, he didn't do the flips, but when he comes in and he just gets the baby, and oh my god, I love everything about that.
The way they did that, because he's holding the baby and flipping, like that was pretty cool how they did that, you know, and jumps directly into the sewer. That was very cool. I love
that whole part, because I wish I would have talked to him about that, because he said his only line, because he remembered it and he did it spot on, was when he's like, oh no, oh Mr. Penguin, here, take it. And then he comes up. I don't know how he comes up perfectly that high with the rubber ducky, unless the rubber ducky.
What's the point of the rubber duck? Like, I mean, like that made no sense at all. First of all, again, I want to know how he's building that thing. You know, I mean, it's a life. It's bigger than a car, and it's a rubber duck.
That's a very Tim Burton addition to this movie.
Well, it does become his getaway car later on. So, like, wouldn't you expect something a little like if you could have a getaway car as a villain? Wouldn't you want something that can like small that can get away? And that thing is massive. That's like the monster truck. That's like the monster truck size.
When it drives, when it has wheels in that part, I was like laughing so hard. I was shocked that it actually had wheels.
Like, what do you think he'd be riding around in a penguin? Like why can't you have a rubber penguin instead of the rubber duck?
Oh, I don't know. Well, maybe he wants to be like, hey, we're better than ducks. I drive around in you. Maybe they don't like, maybe they beef with the ducks in the park.
So you think like on a scale of like, we talked about geeks and nerds, you think like penguins are above ducks?
I would think so, because there's emperor penguins, king penguins. Yeah.
Yeah, but ducks can fly. Penguins can't.
Flying's for the birds.
Well, so you're saying penguin's not a bird?
Yeah, they are. I'm just trying to fit in all these stuff. Yeah, no, now the duck, the first time you see that, you're like, oh my God, what's happening? But so I love when he comes up, how great he is. Again, is it weird that he speaks perfect English? I guess he could hear it from people on the streets, but the way he's acting like nervous and everything, you're like, wow, he is like crushing it in this. I love the way he's speaking as like, the penguin that's to the public. It's so great.
No, he does a great job. It's the first time people have seen him. He's nervous. And again, like if you didn't know the story of Batman, and you wouldn't think he's a villain. Like again, the way he comes up, he's very shy, like nervous, and he's you can see he's resentful from his parents, what they did to him. You think like, all right, well, he's maybe he's a good guy trying to help. Like you wouldn't know anything about, because he starts off pretty good.
Oh yeah.
So like I wonder if you would see this movie differently if you didn't know anything about Batman villains. Oh
no, I agree. That's what I think is so great about this movie, because you kind of not root for him, but you're like, feel so bad for him, because like his parents like just dumped him into a river. And
I feel like Selena was a way worse bad guy than the Penguin for like half the movie.
Oh yeah. You mean like she was more of a villain? Yeah,
100%. Like, and really, she seemed to be mad at everybody. I can understand she's mad at Max, but she kind of, dicky to everybody.
She is. She hated men, and then she even hated that one woman.
Oh, yeah, she hated women too. The women too. No, she really hated everybody.
Yeah. So the Penguin, he is like a celebrity. Everybody, all over the papers, the news, everybody's watching him at the Hall of Records, because all he wants to do is find out who his parents were. So I love when Bruce Wayne is doing his research, and he finds this traveling freak show in the newspaper.
Yep.
And it says Bird Boy, Poodle Lady, in like these photos. And I'm like, that answers a lot of questions.
Yeah. Well, how about the quote that the Penguin said? I was their number one son, and they treated me like number two.
Yeah. And that's like the whole movie at the end. That was so good. He has so many great lines. All of them have. The guy who wrote the script, I don't know, I think his name's Daniel Waters, and then a few other people punched it up, but I don't know what else he wrote. But man, they could have probably wrote dog shit, and these guys nail it.
Absolutely. And I think between Michelle Pfeiffer and Danny DeVito, those two have the best lines in the whole movie. Like, oh yeah, there's so many lines that are coming up now.
Yeah, and then we see like Batman as almost like a husband that got into a fight with his wife. He's just driving around town, just cruising. I wonder if people are like, oh man, Batman's, I guess bad guys around. It's like, he's
cruising for chicks,
Yeah. I love that he's just watching. He's like peeping on Batman.
100%. Him. He lives in that house. I mean, and when you watch the first movie, and he brings, first of all, he goes from Kim Basinger to Michelle Pfeiffer. I mean, he's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Batman. But like, he brings her home. He's got that long table. This house is massive, and it seems to be only two people living in the house.
Yeah.
I mean, poor Alfred has to do everything. So I'm assuming he's, besides cooking and delivering food, he's probably doing the cleaning and everything else. So, I mean, Alfred does a lot in the house. But then later on, we're not there yet, but like the couch that they're sitting on is massive. Like everything is so big, so he's probably so lonely that he has to take his car out and cruise for girls once in a while.
Just cruising for chicks. Alfred, I'm going cruising. Don't wait up.
Do you think he leaves the bat costume on?
Oh, you got to. Yeah, you can't cruise around like Bruce Wayne.
But do you think there's like a zipper?
Oh, you mean during? Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
I mean, it would look weird if he just leaves the mask on and the boots.
Yeah, just the mask, the boots. And the boots, it was like weird product placement, but they didn't like use it. He's wearing Nikes. They're Nikes with like a kick pad over them. And if you freeze frame, you could see it. I was watching a little thing on it. Like, man, I'm surprised they didn't like zoom in on that, but
his whole outfit is a little weird to me because I always thought he was wearing a mask, but his mask is part of the suit.
yeah, it goes underneath.
No, it doesn't. I don't think it does. I think it's attached to this. No, it's not, because he rips it off later on.
He rips off just this part.
Yeah, I think it's part of the suit. I mean, I always thought it was the mask, but the way he rips it off, it looks like it's part of the suit.
Well, kind of is. It goes down and it covers like down here, and then the suit goes over.
I think he steps into it, and it's. I think the head is part of the whole suit.
No, we see the whole scene when he grabs everything.
I know that, but the way he ripped it off at the end looks like it's part of the suit.
Well, it is because it's attached. It's covered.
How is it attached? If he has it underneath, it's not attached.
Well, it's getting held down.
Okay. What would be the point of ripping it off if you could just take the mask off?
He can't take the mask off because it's being held down.
You're telling me? So he has to take the whole suit off before the mask?
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. That's like putting your socks on before your underwear.
It's funny when you think of that. Yeah. No, what I was gonna say, because we're kind of talking about it now, so I'll get it out of the way. Is when he's doing the final, like getting ready, and when he's choosing these things, to me, it's so bizarre to me. I don't know why. It's like everything's like in sixes, like it's like 6 boots, 6 everything, and he's grabbing like not the same ones. Like,
and they're all in hangers.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. But okay, so I need to go back to this for a second, because every superhero puts a mask on. So you're telling me for him to get dressed, he has to put the mask on first, then the suit.
Yeah.
Take it off. He's got to take the suit off, then the mask.
Yeah, it's like socks and shoes. Why are you so confused?
He's gonna look so stupid with just putting the mask on first, and he sit on his bed. He's gonna slide into the suit.
He's by himself. Nobody's watching him.
That doesn't make sense. The man should be like,
Batman, you look ridiculous.
Listen, so Spider-Man, how come every time they take his mask off, it comes right off?
Well, he has a different costume designer. I don't know.
It's the same thing. It goes underneath. It doesn't make sense.
So we find out his name's Penguin's Oswald Cobblepot. So now we have the first time where Catwoman goes into town. Man, I love that when she beats the shit out of that guy. And I love that her line, "Take it easy. It's my first time."
Yep. Or
flashing
when she goes meow.
The best. And that's the part. She slashes the guy up, goes up and down. It looks so cool. The guy like slinks onto the ground, and she looks at the girl and she goes, "What are you waiting for? Batman to save you?" And I'm like, wow.
Well, this is like, it's like she just got her powers for the first time, and now she's out in the town and just creating havoc. Like, she's enjoying what she's doing. Like, this is the first time. And I you could see that. Like, imagine being like as frumpy and dumped on as much as she has, and then all of a sudden you get this like feeling of like ecstasy that you want to go out there and just go crazy. That's what she's doing, and it's so cool. And again, when she starts doing the flips in front of Batman and the Penguin, and then he had tons of lines. I mean, this is where he goes, I like to fill her void.
Oh, I know.
I mean, I didn't remember the Penguin being as horny as he is.
Well,
like, he's horny.
He's Frank and Always Sunny in this. He is Frank.
100%. Well, he even looks like Frank a little bit.
So we have a couple things before that happens. So the next, it's the next morning already. So it's Bruce and Shrek. So Catwoman does all that in one night.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So that's all in one night. She has that happen. She gets killed at like midnight. She's already out. She's out pretty quick. But anyway, so when Bruce and Shrek are meeting, Bruce knows the whole bullshit plan that the nuclear power plant is actually a conductor, and it's gonna like steal the power from Gotham. So they're not gonna have any in 50 years. But dude, when he friggin' oh my god, dude, that whole part when she shows up.
Yep.
I love that. His face is just like,
yeah.
He just looks so shocked, and she's different. She has like this like friggin'
you know what it is? She has this confidence about her.
Yes.
When she walks in.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And again, she's playing Christopher Walken right now because he's in shock that he sees her, and she knows that. But she's not giving anything away, and which is great. Like, she's holding it over him, That's why he says what he says later on about blackmail.
Yeah, and Bruce is in love. He almost forgets his coat.
Yeah.
Can you, Miss Kyle, can you walk her out? And then I love his line. He goes, she tries to blackmail me again, I'll drop her out a higher window.
I wrote that down. Yeah.
Oh my God. That's so great. So this is one of my most confusing scenes of the movie. So then we get Penguin. He's in this really like, God, I couldn't even tell you where he is. He looks like he's in like an old barn. It looks like an old barn. He's sitting there. You see his nasty hands. He's like writing at a desk. And then they pan over. All of his clowns and people are like just watching him. And then in walks Shrek walks in. And he goes, hey, I want you to come down. And he goes, I'm working. Don't bother me. And then he pulls out a newspaper with the fish in it and lures him downstairs.
And again, he's wearing his underwear onesie.
Yes. So when he goes downstairs and you see where he's at, you're like, how many floors did they walk?
Yeah.
How is that the next floor before? It's like you're in a brand new office.
And how did he not know that?
I don't know.
How did the penguin? Yeah, I mean, how did Penguin not know that? Because I thought he was in his lair. Like, I mean, that's like, because it was like a big warehouse, like an empty warehouse where, how did he not know that? And wouldn't you think like Max would say, hey, all right, you know what? Why don't you get dressed and come down?
Yes. That'd be like if your dad was like, son, get your ass downstairs right now. Dad, I'm on my boxes. Get your ass downstairs right now. And it's like the hot neighbor next door is there. You're like, Dad. But no, that's what I felt. And the fact that he's like, oh, wouldn't he be like, all right, I'm going to tell everybody you're going to run for mayor. Hey, eat the fish later. He's eating the fish.
Well, he's in such shock that he's got like fish guts hanging out of his mouth as he's eating.
Amazing.
And everybody's still clapping for him. So this is who they want for mayor. A guy who's eating raw fish with guts hanging out. And like, he looks like he's in such surprise. That's the scene right there, right? That's what
it is. Yeah.
Scene behind it. Yeah.
Everything I love it. Everything is so great.
That really is his hair in Sunny. The way he looks right there, you would think he's from Always Sunny.
And the way he talks to Michelle Pfeiffer the rest of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
So then we have the two people, Jen and Josh. Jen is Jan Hooks from SNL, who's in a ton of Tim Burton movies. She was in Pee-wee.
Yep.
So she goes, can you put on these gloves? Research shows voters love fingers.
That was pretty funny.
And you notice who Josh was?
I couldn't place him.
He was Bateman's buddy on Hogan's Family. Skip.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. I see it now.
And then he gives him the cigarette thing, which is like kind of cool. He spits it right out, just like the old school Penguin had.
Yeah, but he doesn't use it. Does he use it the rest of the movie? He doesn't use it at all, right?
No, he spits it right out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I love when he says, my nose can be bleeding everywhere. He goes, what? My nose can be bleeding. Everybody's laughing. And then he bites him.
Yeah.
And everybody's still fine. Who would work for a guy that's walking there eating raw? I understand. The guy gets a fair shake because he had like a terrible, growing up, penguins raised him, the phrase like raised by wolves, raised by penguins. But he just bit a guy and they're like, yeah, whatever.
Well, you got to look the other way. He had a rough life and, it's okay. He didn't kill him.
He didn't kill him.
I mean, listen, if they were in shock, but the fact that again, I'm going back to his underwear, the onesie, whatever that is, like, I still don't understand why he's wearing that.
And who tailored that? One of the penguins? Or I guess maybe the Poodle Lady. I don't know.
Well, for the longest time, I thought, was that it? Like, is that what his body looks like? Like, was that like, I thought maybe that was his skin. Like, is that really what he looks like? I mean, I couldn't understand what it is because he wears it multiple times.
His butt crack is so long.
Well, again, it's because he has these long, skinny legs that are kind of long, and then he's shaped like Mr. Potato.
He is. He's Mr. Potato, Mr. Penguin Man. Oh my God. So then his first creepy line is towards Jan Hooks. I'll show her my French flipper trick. So then Shrek wants chaos because he wants the only way that there's no mayor election for a while, but he wants to get the mayor recalled so then he can get a runoff and then Oswald can run. And again, another poster that I want is the Oswald Cobblepot for mayor. That is so cool because he looks like the old school penguin on it.
Yep.
But it's Danny DeVito. But man, the whole part with Batman showing up and you had 3 of the 4 bad guys. But so here's what I have to say. So you have 3 or 4 of the Red Triangle gang, which they really don't talk about. But you have one guy with a missile launcher who's like destroying the town, or a rocket launcher. Another guy had what? He just had a gun, maybe, and then the other guy, some other weapon. And then Poodle Lady with her little dog, which I don't know why they call her Poodle Lady, because that's not a poodle. Right? That wasn't a poodle.
Yeah, it is.
That was a poodle?
It looked like a poodle. Of course. So you're telling me they didn't do enough research, but they called her a Poodle Lady and
well,
had a different
poodle as the big ugly ones, and like
but you never seen a small poodle? You think the big poodles only?
I'm not a poodle. All right, if there's a poodle and penguin expert, we love.
Yes, there are small poodles too.
Okay, but that part when he it looks like almost like a Sega like Game Gear. He's like programming the battering, right? What does he call it? The bat boomerang.
Battering ram.
Yeah, he throws it, doom, doom, doom. And then the 4th one, the dog just jumps up and grabs it.
Yeah, I mean, now, Batman's faced tons of villains. You know, he uses that a lot. Yeah. A small little dog can stop it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the dog is pretty good though, because I mean, the dog's a little terrorist. I mean, he blew up the shop later on.
Oh, I know. No, he is pretty badass in this movie. What he does.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so then the whole part. So then he's beating people up, and this is where the first time in like the Batman movies, which people say it's really dark, because I think he killed a lot of people in this movie. But when he sees that big guy with the bomb, he punches him, and then the guy like just snaps back, almost like Hulk Hogan-esque, and he straps the bomb to him, and he throws him down into like the sewer grate, and he explodes. And then, dude, seeing him and Penguin meet for the first time,
I love this kind of fighting. You know, like when Batman fights now, it's more like Jason Bourne. It's like John Wick kind of fighting. But like here again, it's the fighting is just so good. Like the one punch, that he does he knock people out. It's just so great how they film this.
Yeah, the moving action scenes I always liked in these movies.
Yeah,
he's walking and he sees the one guy punches him and then throws him over.
Yeah.
No, yes, that's so amazing. And then we get to the Catwoman in the department store scene in the Shrek department store. This guy owns everything. Department stores. He wants to have a nuclear power plant. And
and she knows how to blow it up.
Well, I guess she's
pretty strong because she punched through the wall to get to the gas.
Yes.
Okay. Again,
cats are strong, I guess.
I don't know about that. I mean, but again, she's like a zombie. With a split personality, with super strength, knows karate, and is a master of whip all in one night.
Yes.
Yeah, I see nothing. Well,
she might have known the whip before. Maybe that's why her boyfriend was at the therapist.
The way she uses the whip in this movie, I don't think she used it that way on her boyfriend.
Maybe that's why he went to therapy. Can I use the whip tonight, honey? No. But so that scene was cool because, like I was saying before, she like got trained by this guy, and when she's doing that scene, that's no strings.
That's awesome.
She does that first take. She nails it all
with the mannequins and everything. Like,
dude, you got to watch it because after she nails it, she does the jumping rope, and then she walks past the camera, and everybody goes ballistic.
So she was jumping rope with the high heels.
Yes,
that's awesome.
And the guy said she learned so quick. She's better than most actors that I've ever trained. He said she was better than Indiana Jones was, Harrison Ford, because he trained him too. Has
she done any other like action movies? Like, I wonder why she has it then, because she does this role incredible. Like, she should have been in more action movies back then.
She should have from that got like her own. Yeah, totally. No, I agree. But that whole scene, and she she scares the crap out of the 2 guys. Again, creepy guys. I don't know what I should do. Should I shoot her or marry her?
Well, I don't know if they scared. Like, they definitely were turned on by her, before she even turned around. Because they were like, what is going on? What did they say when they first saw her? They had a line. I forgot what they said. Like, what's going on here, or what's with her, or something.
Yeah, I know one of his lines is like, I don't know if I should shoot her or marry her.
Yeah.
Something stupid like that. But yeah, so then when she pulls the gas, puts the spray paint cans in the microwave, and when she does those flips out of the place, she just looks at those 2, looking at Batman, like those 3 together is like.
This is where she says meow, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, she was awesome.
And then she runs away really quick. And then Penguin, I saw her first, gotta fly. It's freaking.
And he's got an umbrella strong enough to carry him all the way up. Who made that
helicopter?
He has as many gadgets as Batman does.
I would say more because he has so many. He has, I think, too many because one gets him in trouble later.
Yeah, well, he definitely has too many. But Batman has the resources. Again, how does Penguin have all these gadgets?
I don't know.
Unless Alfred's also working for Penguin.
Do you imagine that? He had his own penguin? No, he had his own Alfred, but it was like an old penguin, an old British penguin. And I love the fight scene between, because again, they already have that connection, and just the fact that he like punches her and she's like, "Oh, how could you? I'm a woman." And he like, dude, he lets his guard down because he likes her already. No matter, I don't think he really knows yet. There's a
he doesn't know what to make of her yet. Like, is she a bad guy? Is she not a bad guy? You know, like so. But I mean, like she played him totally. And then she goes, "What I meant to say, right?" And she goes, "I'm a woman in control," or something, or what'd she say after that? I forget.
All I know is she kneels on his chest. She's like on top of him and licks. Right? That's when she licks him.
She licks him, and then I thought was very cool is when she's feeling his abs, like his costume. He's looking for the weak point, and that's when she stabs him. Like, which was very cool. And you know what? She's not the first person to do that in this movie. I forget, was it Penguin or was it Christopher Walken that also realized that it's just a suit? Like
Walken later.
Walken, yeah. So like, I mean, that second time, like, did people really think that he's that size? Like all this time, then?
No, but it's cool because she's talking about like, I want to know who's behind your mask. And I want to know who's behind mine. And I just want to get inside of who you really are. And then she's like feeling that. And then he dumps her off into a freaking kitty litter truck. And I love it. She's laying in it. The best.
And what'd she say? She said something about kitty litter, right?
She's like,
say,
kitty litter.
No. And saved by kitty litter.
Yeah.
And then she also says, "Life's a bitch, and so am I."
Yes.
Like her lines are great. Again, her and Penguin. Now the rest of the movie have so many quotes.
Yeah, there's like all of every line, even when they're talking back and forth, each one could be like, you know, on a poster, on a GIF or a GIF, whatever you call those memes. Like they're all of them are so good. And this is when they have their little meeting for the first time. Well, first we have Cobblepot for mayor. He gets really creepy with that girl when he's putting the button on her shirt.
This is the start of him really like you didn't see that side of him yet until that button. And I think that's what got him, because it was probably the first boob he touched. Because, you know, again, he was, you know, I don't think penguins have boobs.
Right.
So he puts the pin on her and he's patting her boob down as he's putting the pin on her. And that was probably because from there he's hitting on like women the rest of the movie.
So do you think he's into women? If you were around penguins, I guess he peeped a lot, right?
He did. Well, okay, so he's in the sewers. You don't think girls with dresses are walking over the sewer and he's looking up?
No, I know, but like, who did he go to prom with? Is there like penguin school? Did he go to prom with the penguin?
Well, how do you tell the difference between a male penguin and a female penguin?
A dick?
Not only that, if you are married to a penguin, all the penguins look the same. Like, do you ever get confused?
Come on. That's animalist. They see the little ruffles or different directions, I guess. But no, I get it. I guess if a caveman came out of, you know, never saw a woman before, and then he was like, "Whoa!" So
I feel like Penguin in this movie has like a very childlike mind. You know, if you look at his gadgets, his remote control car thing later on, you know, all these little things like the rubber ducky. So I think he's, you know, again, he never had a childhood. You know, he was found as a baby. So it's almost like I guess a Michael Myers kind of thing where, you know, he doesn't know. So, or Jason, you know, we talk about Jason always creeping and peeping. So I think that's part of it. So it's the first, you know, when he's putting the pin on the girl, it's the first time, and he wouldn't let go. Like he kept patting it for a while, because the next scene is when he gets really like pretty raw with Michelle Pfeiffer. Yeah. So I think that's what it is. I think he's just a child. He's like a teenager mentally.
He is like, some of the things he says are like, and I love that she doesn't put up with it at first. you're thinking she's gonna like, kind of like play with him a little bit to like get him to, which she sort of does.
She sort of does.
At this part, she does.
Right.
Then later when she turns, but man, her putting the bird in the mouth, dude, that was a real bird that was trained to do that.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
And the fact that she was cool doing it. She crushed it. To be in that outfit, like I said before, 15 minutes at a time that she could do that. That's
but you know what? She wore tight leather again in Greece too.
That's
so
what
she's
I mean.
so
but
she's
this is tighter. Yeah.
No, it is, but I mean she's no stranger to leather.
So leather, if after one time you're familiar, you're friends.
Oh, you know what you're getting yourself into. Literally.
Leather. That's awesome.
Do you remember what he said when he first meets her and when she's laying down?
No.
He goes, just the pussy I was looking for.
Yes.
I mean, I watched this movie, I'm assuming is PG-13, right? Has to be. So. Well, because the first one was PG-13 with Jack Nicholson, and I don't know why. Like, there really was nothing too violent. It wasn't raw. Because this one seems like it definitely took the next leap, and like, again, this whole scene of them back and forth and that line alone was pretty big, pretty graphic.
Yeah, I guess because they had no F words, they were fine. I guess you could have, I forgot what it was. I thought back in the day it was like PG, you could say F twice. And I think in PG-13, it was like some other number or something stupid back in the day. But
I'm telling you, if you watch the first one compared to this one, the first one's very tame. Like my son, I'm like, this is PG-13. He goes, how? Like, it just didn't make sense. But this movie I could see is PG-13 because it's so dark. So
she puts the bird in his mouth and in her mouth. Then
he's gonna kill a cat.
Yeah, in seconds. He has another umbrella that he hits a button. It's like a switchblade. He's getting ready to murder a cat. She lets the bird out. And
do you think he's in cahoots with Inspector Gadget? Because Inspector Gadget has the same kind of umbrellas.
Maybe.
Like, I wonder if they probably buy it at the same store.
Yeah, they're both part of whatever the agency was. Maybe he has Penny working for
Acme.
Yeah. No, you're right. All the umbrellas that he and later when he's flying earlier in the helicopter one, that just looks so silly, but so cool because I love how like out of this world, like the Penguin is in this movie.
Yeah.
So when they talk about, you know what, let's get rid of Batman. That's what I want. And then he basically gives into the plan. They kind of make like a little deal. She goes, I feel dirty. Think I need a bath. And I'm like, whoa.
Oh yeah. I now is that like, is she just trying to turn him on, or is like, again, she's drinking the milk, she's doing it like, does she feel like she's cleaning herself?
Oh, I don't know. I would think maybe a little bit of both. I would think.
So you think when cats do that, they're trying to turn on everyone else? Because cats do that a lot. Cats do that a lot.
That's why single people usually have cats. I wonder if David E. Kelly, who is like a prominent TV writer, movies, books, is married to Michelle Pfeiffer, if he was like, hey, honey, you think Tim would mind if you bring it home for one night? Because, man, dude, like her in that, I'm telling you,
yeah.
Not only is she like absolutely like, you can't not look at her because she looks so gorgeous, but just her line delivery. And even as Selena, like I'm telling you, I still can't believe she was not nominated for like anything.
Yeah. No, again, she played both roles, like great. I mean, even when she was Selena, she played it like a very like depressed, sad person. Like, she cries multiple times in this movie. She does a great job. To me, she was the best part of this whole movie, and I'm not just talking about just the way she looks, just to me, like, again, I feel like the movie was more Catwoman than Batman.
No, I totally agree. Yeah. And again, if Heath Ledger, I know he passed away and then he got nominated and won, but I don't know if that had anything to do with it, even though it was like great what he did in that role, but she's right there.
Yeah,
like how good she is in this movie. So then we see Bruce and Selena, they meet. He's like kind of like stalking her, I guess, on the street. And then he's like, hey, let's go on like a date. And I love when she's like, yeah, a Batman is blowing up the city, and because I was on all the papers. And then he's like, I don't think Batman did that. And he's like defending him. He kind of gets like a little like, gets a little like, hey man, I don't think he did that. I don't think Batman meant to do that.
So her mask doesn't really cover much of her face. He can't see that's Selena under there.
I would say even Batman. I know it's really just.
No, I agree. Even Batman, you can't tell. Like, I mean, like, listen, I've gone to Halloween costume parties and people have dressed as Batman. You could tell exactly. Oh, look, here comes Bob in Batman's suit. Like you know right away.
Fuck. I'm never gonna be Batman again.
But I mean, if you look at Catwoman behind you, really, there's barely anything covering her face.
No, I know.
I mean, like, it's like Clark Kent. I guess that's even worse.
I think again, maybe. And everybody in a costume, I guess, acts different and like a villain, but he knows her, even though she is kind of like has attitude. He doesn't know her from before everything happened, but she's totally different, super confident.
No, 100%.
So maybe that throws him off, but he should be like an expert on villains at this point.
Yeah.
But so then this is the part where Penguin, they kidnap Miss Gotham, who's like a super
the
bimbo.
Ice Princess. They call her the Ice Princess.
Yes, who's a bimbo because she goes, the tree lights and I hit the button. Oh no, it's I hit the button and the tree. Yeah. So
and it's cold and snowy and she's wearing like basically nothing the entire movie.
Yeah, and here's the thing that makes no sense. So then the Penguin is looking at her. He's like, oh, I what does he say? Something about like I can get you movies or TV shows. I think he says like. He knows a casting director. Then he pulls out the batarang, throws it, hits her, and I'm like, she's dead.
I thought he killed her right there.
I always thought that. I don't know why.
Well, the way they made it look because they didn't show it because I guess it would have been too gross to show, but it looked like they threw it right in her back.
Yeah, and then there was blood on it, and I think the cops found that.
Yeah,
I don't think it was in her back when we saw her later, and she was fine. It's not like she was like in pain.
Right.
All she said was, oh, I talked to her. I think we did a little woman to woman and she's going to let me go.
How do you even throw it though? Cause he only has like 2 fingers. So, I mean,
Oh my God. And then just before that whole part, like in between, it's Bruce and Selena on the date. Bruce starts talking about Vicky Vale saying my last relationship didn't work out. And then dude, within seconds, it's like Cinemax making out. And then I guess the tongue make out when she licked his face was, I don't know if it was before or after this when they fought when he was trying to save the Ice Princess. I guess maybe it would be after, because that would make sense like in the story. But I love how they're awkwardly trying to leave because everything that's happening. I love when he's like, Alfred, can you, I don't know, make something up, and then she does the same exact thing.
Yeah. And he goes, something. Then she goes, something like, say something dirty or a dirty limerick or something like that.
Yeah. Say like a poem or a limerick. And he goes,
something just came to mind.
Yeah. And then again, back to the Ice Princess. She's sitting there like tied up. He shoots himself over to her, and she says, "Oh, I talked to her woman on woman." And then we have a really cool, like they're going at each other, man. And he doesn't. This is the part I really thought he knows it's her, right?
I don't know. Again, I think it's because she's a woman. I don't think he knows it's her until the masquerade party. I just think it's a woman and he doesn't want to really, he pound on her. Like, I think he's trying to be delicate.
No, I know that, but I feel like he thinks it's her because he even says something like, I think he says like, we're the same. And he's like backing off. He's only blocking for a while until she lands some strikes on her, but I don't know.
Maybe.
I think there was one line that he said that I thought, because later in the one scene, I'm like, wait, I thought he knew already.
Yeah, but the sudden shock of knowing that each other, because they said the line they recognized was they both look shocked at the masquerade party.
No, that's what I mean. That's why I was like, he didn't know.
Yeah, so that's why I don't think.
I did like, again, we have so much more to cover, but I did like that Bruce is changing in a fancy Batcave and Selena's changing in her car while driving. I did like that.
Well, the line, I mean, when the Ice Princess falls, I don't know where Michelle Pfeiffer goes, I didn't think you were going to kill her.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I thought you're only gonna make her afraid or something like that. And he goes, you said you're gonna scare the ice princess. And he goes, she looked pretty scared of me. Like,
and then that's when she was like, I'm done with you. And he attaches the helicopter umbrella to her penguin, and she just starts flying in the air. I'm like, holy crap.
Well, because then she said, because she insulted him, because she goes, I wouldn't touch you to scratch you.
Yes.
Is what she said to him. And that's when he like flips out and then gets mad at her.
Yes. And then just to continue that part, just before it. So the fact that they're drinking champagne and he's trying to like kiss her, which is creepy. But how about when Batman's about to save the ice princess, when she's on the edge and Penguin comes out of nowhere and he goes, lawn dart.
Oh, yeah.
And that umbrella has bats in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then bats fly out of the Christmas tree downtown. And it just, oh my God.
Well, we forgot also that while all this is going on, Bruce or Batman parks his car in an alley. And then the whole gang comes out. Like, first of all, I don't know how no one saw them, because there's like 10 of them all fixed in the car to put one little object that Bruce finds later on.
Again, like, this is what's crazy, because they're going through the car, like the hood.
Correct.
And it's underneath.
Yeah. Right. It was a one little object underneath, but it looked like they were working on the entire car.
And you ready for this? Skinny Clown, Doug Jones, Jack Frost too. He was the guy that got killed on the raft.
Nice.
Yes. So then this scene is great too. When Batman gets back to the car, which again, how did the bad guys open it so quick? I don't know. Like the fact that they had a button it opens up, that's for another day. But when he goes in there, I love this scene.
Oh, okay. So what's the point of making the Penguin sit on one of those ShopRite kid rides?
That looks just like the Batmobile.
Wouldn't it make sense to like just use a remote, like a remote, like to control it? Like he has to. It's got to be like the whole thing. Everything moves. Like it just made no sense. Like what? That's why I said like, is he like he's like a kid? Like he's like
I think that's exactly what I thought of. I was about to be like you said, he is in that mindset. Even though he was like left before he was one. He's stuck at like his brain didn't develop.
It has to be like there is no point to that. Like to have that kiddie ride, it's just so stupid.
But you know what I really loved about it was that he was the man. Like I think he was just done giving a speech or like kissing babies and stuff, and he walks past and he goes into his trailer and he starts walking angrily, and the way his fat like body gets into that thing, and he's just like. Hey,
and the whole van is like shaking as he's moving around.
Like no, maybe people thought he was getting late, so that's why they didn't mind. But when he runs over when those cops come over and they start firing, he runs over all those cops. So this movie, obviously, a lot of people definitely died. But I love when he says, "Oswald, welcome to the Oswald Cobblepot School of Driving." And then after they run the people over, he goes, I think this is the worst time to tell you, but my license is expired.
Well, I don't think he's ever driven a car before, so this is like the closest thing.
And that's why he's so bad at it. At least that makes sense, right? But I do love that when he goes down the one aisle. I love in movies when they pay for like the legit effects, or maybe they were that good that it was really miniatures. But when he goes and all those cars are parked and the Batmobile's flipping all those cars.
Yeah, I mean, would that happen? If a car is going down, a regular car, I mean, like, I don't think it would flip a car like that.
It's the Batmobile.
Okay.
It has a raised hood.
Well, it makes it different than any other car that would flip the car. It's not like it has like lifts on it as it's lifting the cars.
It's a Saab. I don't know. But I love when movies aren't cheap or try to do a different way to they could have done a whole thing and not saying they wouldn't have blown stuff up. It was the 80s, 90s, but it just looks so cool. Each car like flipping over, and a couple of them there's probably dummies in there, but it looks so good. It
did. Yeah, no, it did.
And how about the fact that he has a thing on his computer, which this computer does a couple silly things this way, but it's a foreign object detected. Boop, boop. And it shows under the car. And it's like, again, that's the way technology was then. but he's just like punching, and then grabs it.
That made me laugh because they looked like they were doing so much work on the car for that one little thing.
Yeah.
It looked like they could have just put a hand underneath the car and stuck it, underneath.
So here's my biggest question in the movie. You ready? So this part is when Oswald's giving his big speech. This is like, he's already running for mayor. He says that earlier, but it's like his big speech. Okay.
I wonder if you're going to say what I'm going to say. But
oh, exactly. I know it's exactly. So he starts speaking, and Alfred is a master. He does the same trick twice in this movie.
Yep.
I guess he's so good. Maybe he took like a community college class on jamming frequencies. But so he pops in. Somehow he was recording everything he was saying in the car to him about the people of Gotham.
Right.
But when he puts the CD in there, and he starts DJ scratching it. That's not how they work.
I knew you were going to say that.
That's records. Wouldn't those people I like first CD? I know the first CD pressed in America was Born in the USA. I know that for a fact. So that's early 80s. Yeah.
There was the first CD?
That was the first one pressed in America. I don't know.
Really?
Maybe they did that as like we're going to start with Bruce, born in the USA. So people, it wasn't like this was a new technology. Like people knew this for years that you couldn't go wicka wicka with it. I laughed my ass off at that part.
And it also didn't really make sense. Like, why would he even do that? Like, it just, even if what?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm saying, even if it did work that way, what's the point of doing that? That was just so stupid. That was like a throw.
Yeah, wouldn't it make it seem like he's really not? Well, obviously he said it at one point, but wouldn't he just have it like on repeat or something?
Well, honestly, I wrote that down. Doug's going to mention that. I knew you were going to mention that. I thought you were going to mention this also, because this is one of the questions I have. One of the biggest questions. Why was everybody carrying so much produce?
I know.
at this, I mean, like, because they were expecting a good speech. This is a guy that they elected mayor, right? Do they always walk around with tomatoes and lettuce?
Every time they go to a speech, they're like, hey, I thought we liked this guy. Hey, you never know.
I mean, like, is that like, because and it wasn't just a little, like, like it was a lot. Like, it was a lot.
The funniest part about it is he references it. When he opens the umbrella, he even says that.
Maybe that's why he carries the umbrella, because he was waiting he knows that people bring lettuce and tomatoes everywhere they go.
And then he started shooting at the people. and I love that he had his rubber ducky waiting for him in the sewer. It was amazing. Oh no, yeah. This is when he runs away and
he jumps over the bridge. He jumps over the
one. Yeah, and the cops are getting ready to shoot at him, and he flops. Oh, he doesn't jump. He throws his body over.
Well, that's kind of how penguins kind of dive into water.
Yeah, no, it does. Oh my god! And then again, I forgot about this whole part, so I didn't mention it earlier because it matters now. When he's in the Hall of Records, he was writing names down.
Yep.
So I was like, at first, I was like, wait. Is he trying? I thought he was going to pretend to be somebody rich, his kid, but then he was writing down all the firstborn sons of Gotham.
I thought he was writing down parents that could have been his. Like I thought he was listening. Right, yeah. Right. Yeah. But you're right. So this got dark again. So he wants to kill the firstborn of every. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Not just kidnap. He wants to kill.
He wants to kill first. Yep.
So then we have Shrek's masquerade party. Alfred's like, oh, that party's tonight. You don't want to go. And then he's like, yeah, what? Maybe Selena will be there. And then Selena kind of thinks the same thing. So, dude, this is where I'm writing this. I'm like, dude, they see each other. Again, they're the only one not wearing masks. And the reason
I said that
because they always wear masks.
Yep. Oh, okay. So, I didn't think about that. But again, I mean, it would seem like a weird masquerade because there was a guy there wearing a Coliseum hat.
Oh, dude, there was a guy that was wearing the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Yeah.
Somebody was Mona Lisa.
What? They were talking to each other. The Leaning Tower was talking to the Coliseum. Like, is that what happened?
Makes sense, right?
Have you ever been to a masquerade party? I haven't.
Well, I never been, but Eyes Wide Shut. They're just wearing normal masks. Not like this is like a Halloween masquerade. And this is Christmas Eve, I think.
Yes, it's Christmas.
Or I think it is Christmas Eve. Yeah. Cause I know it's Christmas. Yeah. But yeah, that whole part.
Yeah.
But dude, the part that she's there, she tells him, why does she need to do it like that? Right? Why would she bring a gun to this masquerade party when she could kill him at work? Why do it in front of people? Why go to prison? Because she can or why not do it as Catwoman? So then you do it as Catwoman, never dress like Catwoman again.
Well, at this point, he still doesn't know it's Catwoman. I don't, because they didn't say the line yet. So
no, he doesn't. I was mind blown. No, I know.
Right. So, and he's still okay with that. Like now, he kind of just he barely knows her. I mean, this all happens like in like 2 days. So he barely knows her. And you're like, you dancing with the girl you just met, you kind of digging, and then she brings out a gun. Wouldn't you like leave? Like he starts making out with her. He liked it. But she also had that line. Do you remember the line she says in there? You go, I mean, I don't know if she said it yet, but I wrote it down. No hard feelings. I think he says it to her, and she said, or I think she said it or he said it, and she goes, actually semi-hard.
Yeah, yeah.
When they were dancing close.
Yeah, yeah. I think he said no hard feelings. She said no semi-hard. I'm sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. If it was Penguin, he would have said full hard. But that scene, then they have the mistletoe line, which again, at that point, I'm like,
yeah,
dude, I thought they knew it was him. So big explosion happens when they're getting ready to leave anyway, when he like convinces her to leave and she's about to. So I wonder, like, were they getting ready to like leave town or something? Or they were, I don't know.
Well, he was semi.
He was.
So
semi.
they were probably just going back to his place.
He was almost there. Alfred, come on, you drive around. We're gonna be in the back. So the explosion, Penguin somehow. So okay, so is this on the first floor, right under a river? The fact that he comes through,
that duck is able to get everywhere. That duck is able to get everywhere because that's how he gets out of the ground is by the duck.
Yeah,
because it raises. So that's why I said before that stream is somehow located at every building in Gotham. That's how he gets around. And it's wide enough everywhere that big duck can go through.
I love when he looks at Shrek and he's like, get in the duck.
Well, no, he wanted the sun first.
He wanted because that's
right,
when he revealed his plan to everyone.
Right.
Oh, you are all dancing and wearing masks and getting drunk. We're rounding up. Who's watching all these kids? I guess they're rich, just like leave them there, or nannies. So some nannies are dying because of this.
Pretty much, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but yeah. So he grabs Max and then throws him in a cage. Now I have a question about this, right? Because that cage, he easily could have slid right through.
Oh,
it was like a bird. It was a bird cage that he was in, and the bars were not that wide.
It was like
because the bars were very wide.
Yeah, I don't know what animal was in that at the zoo because it was really small.
Why does that have to be an animal? He created it to.
Oh, you mean he made it for that? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, well, I guess if you can make all these umbrellas that fly.
I mean, his technology is almost better than Batman's technology.
Ooh.
Pretty. The fact that he's able to crack the code for the Batmobile, I would say his technology is pretty good.
Yeah, you can crack the code for the Batmobile, but he uses a stupid thing that you could just pull off.
Well, I'm sure there's probably better drivers in his gang, but I mean, he just they probably couldn't fit in that toy thing that he made.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my God. He probably made it that way. And he's like, oh, I guess only I can use it.
So they're in the lair. And now are we supposed to, that all that water is supposed to be nuclear waste? Because
that's like something, another scheme that what's his name did years ago.
But that water that's underneath the cage, because he was going to drop him in there also, correct?
Yeah.
Because everybody seems to go in that water and nothing happens. Because even Max goes in the water. Because he grabs the gun.
He's fine.
Yeah. So.
Well, I guess we don't know if he's fine because maybe in a few years he would have developed something, but I don't
turn into the Toxic Avenger?
Yes.
Future movie?
Yes. Yes. So this part is when so Batman saves the day. You see the guy that was the teacher in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He's driving around, which is pretty cool. It's like the traveling circus thing. They're throwing the kids in. Batman rips him up, and then he gives a
no.
The fact that Penguin's standing there and there's a note handed by the monkey on Batman letterhead. So two things that are cool about this. The note is written by Bob Kane, creator of Batman. Like that's his handwriting. And the monkey was scared of Danny DeVito in the outfit. So they had to shoot it on a day when he was not in the outfit and he just wore the hand.
That's awesome. That's great.
And then he gives that amazing speech. One of the best speeches he's probably ever given in his amazing career to a bunch of penguins. I loved every second of it.
And they all have missiles strapped to their back.
Yes.
So I thought they were doing like a kamikaze mission. Like I didn't realize they were. At first I didn't realize they were rockets or missiles. I thought they were like bombs that they were. He was sending them out to destroy.
Wow,
but then he calls them. He does. He calls them my babies.
Yeah. No,
but they adopted him.
Well, it's been I don't know how long penguins live. Maybe some of them are his baby. We see later when we get into it. There's some really large penguins.
Oh, there are, and let me tell you, that was a very touching scene.
It is. I forgot who it was. Like some producer in the documentary I watched. Like, wow, like that scene is like. And DeVito loved it when they had that in there. So then we have Batman flying around. He's flying like in the tunnels of the water. And at that same time, the penguins are walking around Gotham. And the Poodle Lady, for some reason, I don't know why bad guys always have to do this. They're like, in 10 minutes, we're going to blow up the city. And it's like, all right, just blow it up already. Why do you have to warn me? You know? So in this one, she's like counting it down. And she goes, estimated casualties, 100,000. And I'm going to count down from 10. And I'm like, and then again, Alfred, boom, 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 community college, Gotham. Look what he did. He jammed the frequency again and he sent them back and they all went backwards. He's kind of the hero of this movie. He stopped.
He's a hero in every movie. He's the one that, again, without Alfred, there's no Batman. I think Batman would lose his mind.
No, I agree.
So
I did like Shrek in the cage trying to convince the monkey.
Again, he's like reaching out to the monkey, trying to get the key.
He's like, through it.
Right.
Oh, yeah. So if he got the key, he would have to jump in the sludge anyway. So no matter what, why not try to? Yeah.
See, that's what I was questioning. I'm like, why isn't he escaping? Is it because he doesn't want to go in a sludge? But he goes there anyway, and nothing happens.
Well, we don't know what it could be. Again, in 20 minutes, he could have started melting.
I don't think so.
Okay, we need a penguin expert. We need what's the other P word?
We need a sludge expert.
Sludge expert. Pollution. The 3 Ps we need. So the next scene is. So this is where Batman shows up. He flies through, and this is where we see the rubber ducky is like an amphibian type vehicle. It starts driving up, and then Batman crashes into him like fast. I was not expecting that.
Well, it is a large rubber ducky. That's what I mean. Like, if you're going to have a getaway car, I think something that size, that shape, like, it's going to be hard to like make turns and corners and stuff.
Or why, if you're a bad guy, this is why bad guys aren't good bad guys and they get caught, is when they get a car, like I would choose like, all right, what's the most popular car in the market? Boom, Toyota Camry. That's what I would drive because I would get into traffic and there'd be a ton of them. You're easily going to see a rubber ducky.
Or, I mean, considering that he's able to get everywhere throughout the whole movie in that sludge, why not stay in the water? That's a boat. Like he's been using everywhere to get everywhere. Wouldn't that be your best like route?
Yeah, I guess so. Why wouldn't he sit in it? Well, I guess Batman could get him with the battering ram, but he could have used one of his super umbrellas. Why didn't he just fly away with his umbrella?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions.
Yeah, he chose the wrong. He makes some bad decisions, you know. But when he crashes into him, that's cool. And then they have a little fight scene. I love that they did battle a little bit. He pulled out like the switchblade umbrella, but it's kind of cool that Batman in a way tricked him because he got him to knock the detonator out of his hand, which you think it's a detonator, but it's really like a tracking. Man, when Penguin hits that, and you see all the penguins start like leaning forward and he just gets blown up, man.
Well, that's when I started questioning, like, where are the rest of the animals? Like, did they blow up too?
Well, there are no other animals. The zoo's closed.
I know. Okay. Well, they don't go home. The animals will go home for the night.
Well, maybe somebody hated penguins and they took all the other animals. The Tiger King came, took all the tigers, alligators, Croc Dundee, Paul Hogan.
Or the animals just went home. All right, we're going home for the night. Please tell the penguins to lock up.
That'd be a great movie if the animals like went to the zoo for work and then they punched out. So amazing. So then Shrek's about to escape. He falls in the sludge. Catwoman gets him with the whip, grabs him by the leg.
But he grabs a gun while he's under there. He grabs the gun.
Which would a sludge gun work?
Well, it doesn't work on the guy, so why wouldn't it work? There's no sludge. The water looks so clear when he's down there.
No, I know.
I
know. So she looks crazy because I think we skipped the one scene when she gets. Oh no, I guess why does she look so crazy in this part?
Well, she was probably in there during the explosion, so her hair.
And she was at the party, and she probably changed really quick. That's why. Okay.
So she didn't have time to tuck her hair in. Yep. The mask. So
that takes a few extra minutes.
Yeah, but again, the mask should be going on first. So maybe she put it on last.
Oh, maybe. I don't know if hers is like that. Maybe. So Batman's trying to convince Catwoman to, hey, let Shrek go. We'll take him to the police. And she's like, no. And Bruce just wants his baby, you know? And then he rips the mask off right at the bottom, tears it. How about he tears the mask off? And dude, when Shrek, and then her mask, she takes her mask off at the same point, and then Shrek goes, Selena, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Her blonde hair was out. She didn't have like the deep red lipstick because she came right from the party. I'm like, dude, how does this not even happen?
And you're telling me that his mask is that flimsy he could rip it in half like that? It doesn't have super strength.
Button. So two things about this. So his first line to a woman that he clearly knows that it could kill him. She just grabbed him by a whip. He says, "You're fired." And then, oh my God, it just made no sense.
So was he assuming that she's still working there all this time?
Well, she's been working there the whole time.
Well, no, she only went there the one time and escorted Bruce out.
Christmas Eve. I think Shrek, even though he's a dick, he gave him the day off, I hope. And then this is where Batman gets shot. Just before this scene. Just before she goes in to take care of him. That whole scene's cool because he shoots Batman twice. Batman falls on the ground and then she gets shot and just her counting her lives. Oh.
Well, isn't Batman bulletproof? Like, isn't his costume bulletproof?
I always thought that too, but I think, yeah, why wouldn't he be? Alfred. Yeah, we just gave Alfred all this praise. Look at this.
But I mean, I think in every other movie, he's bulletproof. Like, the bullets always bounce off him. So I'm surprised, like, he was able to get shot. I feel like might be like an early prototype of his costume because he gets stabbed by a fake claw. It pierces through.
He's getting old. He's slipping up. He forgot to put the bulletproof on that. Maybe if he grabbed the fourth suit instead of the third one, this is the one that he forgot to add it on to.
And do cats really have 9 lives?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why they call what? You think they would call the cat food 9 lives if it was just BS?
Had to be proof somewhere. All right.
But it got up to 6, right?
7. No, 7, because she saved 2. So she goes, I'll use 1 for Christmas next year. And then the 8th one is when she shocks him. So there were 7.
And then, the kiss. That whole thing is so cool. And so go back to earlier. So again, they kept the script pretty much the same sort of, except Max Schreck's character is different than Harvey Dent would have been. But the ending scene they left, that was going to be Harvey Dent. And then
so
he would have
next
survived and been Two-Face.
That makes sense. So that would have been cool. Cool.
Well, except
the next movie does have Two-Face.
No, I know.
Yeah.
And Batman, when he goes back, and I'm skipping ahead, but since it's the same part, but when he goes back and he's looking for Selena and she's not found, but when he opens up the one, tell me that's not the same one from, it's the exact same, like when Joker kills the guy in the first Batman. Remember when he does it with the button?
Oh yeah.
It looked like the same exact one, except with the Mozart hair. Everything burnt but his hair.
That's what I said. I wrote that down. I go, so basically, when you get electrocuted like that, you turn into like a burnt skeleton, but your hair stays completely the same.
Yeah. So the Penguin. So Batman's getting ready to leave. The Penguin shows up. He's oozing like toxic waste.
And again, he's red blood. This is the first time you see red blood. So this is where I said that sludge coming out of his mouth is not blood. So again, I have a question: what that black crap is? The whole movie he has coming out.
Yeah.
Yes. This is. I honestly found it a little depressing. Like, like he's beaten. This poor guy got picked on like pretty much his whole life. Basically, got thrown away as a child, and now he dies in front of his children.
It was sad, and I love that he grabs the umbrella. Batman's not ready because he's like, where's my lady? And he picks it up, and it just has like kids' toys that go on like the wheel above the crib. And he goes, "Oh, I picked the cute one." And when he falls, he hits so hard. Yeah. So then in the next scene, when the Penguins walk him in, they used how did they, because they had flippers. So they look like they were walking by inside of him, holding him, but like I know.
They were barely touching him. Like it was almost like he was on a conveyor belt.
So they actually use, according to the American Humane Society, who was there for the shoot, they're little people dressed as emperor penguins.
So it might have been like, since Dustin Hoffman didn't get the role, maybe he was one of the penguins.
Maybe they're like, "Hey, Dustin, let me throw you some bread." No, because some of the Stan Winston, who did a lot of the makeup special effects, he made some of the penguins that you see, like the one that we see that I think he actually had a name in the movie, but like in the script, but they don't say in the movie. He's the one who has like the He's an animatronic one when they show him like close up, like moving his head. But that was very touching when they brought him into the water.
It really was. It really was.
So the end scene of the movie. Here we go. So Alfred's driving Bruce in the car on Christmas, snowing. You actually even hear like something on the radio about Christmas. So then he sees like the shadow of Catwoman,
like a cartoon shadow of it. Yeah.
Then he runs down the alley. He finds a cat. He looks around, takes it. And dude, when we see the bat signal go up and we see Catwoman, you ready for this?
So oh boy, go ahead.
So that was not Michelle Pfeiffer. She was not available. She was already filming something else. So wouldn't you think they would get like a body double, like an actual person no, they built an animatronic
for that one part.
Yes. So they had to bring in the crew. So they did a test shoot. The audience loved the movie, but they didn't like that you don't know if she was alive or not, which is still kind of cool because they never find her body.
Right.
So they had to reshoot that scene just to do, and they did it within, I think there was like 11 days left.
Wow.
So the movie was being released in the movie theater.
Wow.
How much do you think it cost just to shoot Michael Keaton, Alfred, and all that little part?
That one scene?
Yeah.
I have no idea. $3 million.
$250,000.
Wow.
For something that probably took, the animatronic thing probably cost like $200,000.
That makes no sense. Like what? Unless did they already have an animatronic?
No, they just wanted it to look perfect. They didn't want any difference. They didn't want the audience to be like, "Oh, that's not her."
I don't think the audience. If you can find another skinny, I'll say so did I. So if you find another skinny, because they made it perfect. But if you found another skinny, actress to do that, you're not seeing her face. No one would know.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's insane. I wonder why she wasn't in like the next movies. I mean,
okay. So this was from this point on, they were going to do Catwoman. She was going to do it. And because they were going to put him in Batman Forever, they're like, no, she's got to get her own movie. So that's why she wasn't referenced or in it. So then it just kept going and like kept getting screwed over. And Burton was going to be the director. The writer, Daniel Waters, who wrote this movie, was going to write Catwoman. And then it just got trugged along. She wasn't involved anymore. She wanted to do it in like 95. She did an interview and then she couldn't do it because of other movies. Because that's when she was already
Blew up.
huge, but
Yeah.
mid '90s, late '90s.
Oh,
She's
easily.
in Wolf with Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
She like blows up.
Yeah.
So then Ashley Judd was going to be Catwoman in the movie, and then obviously in 2004, it was the flop of the century with.
I never saw it, but I mean, I heard it was horrible.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so that so much into that movie. It was so cool. So the budget for this movie, I'm not going to ask it like what you guessed, but the budget was anywhere between 65 to 80 million. They don't know exactly. It made 282. It was like, it crushed it, but there were still like 2 movies this year that did better.
I would have thought it would have made more. I mean, because I feel like this is,
282 then tickets.
No, I know, but I just feel like, I just thought, I would assume that it made a little bit more, but yeah, I wonder what beat it back then.
I don't know, but man, there's so much to unravel and so much behind the scenes things. So we'll just cut it pretty quick. Jamie, what this movie? We're not, obviously you like it, you recommend it. Do you think this is the best Batman movie?
I do like it a lot. It's close to one of the best Batman movies. I do like Batman Forever only because I love Jim Carrey as the Riddler. I mean, Jim Carrey makes that movie, but as a full Batman movie, this is very good. We're not talking about the new ones, right? We're talking about just the old ones.
Include them. I think it's the best one.
It is. I mean, Dark Knight is really good. So it's really hard to compare. I would say this is definitely in the top 2, maybe top 3. Like I said, it's definitely great. I mean, watching, I haven't seen it in a long time, and watching it again, it's so good. My son was watching a little of the first one. It might be a little dated. Again, it's silly. This one, I think he would like a lot. I think this one is such a Batman movie. So I would say if anyone has not seen it yet, you got to watch it. Just because it's such a different take on Batman. It's comic book. This is so comic book. It's great.
Yeah, like Burton didn't want it to make it feel like a sequel. That's why the town looks, Gotham looks different, like just the architecture and everything. But no, the reason I think this is the best one, that I love it, just again, it is great. But just seeing that scene when she does the flips.
Oh yeah.
And just seeing those 3, like, dude, like they're some of the best of all time. Again, not taking it. Christian Bale's a great actor. Gary Oldman, great actor. Heath Ledger was in some great things before, and then his life got cut short. But these 3 people are like go down in the history.
No, I agree.
Like the best.
I wish there was like Christopher Walken had a little bit more of a
villain. Walken. What am I talking about?
Yeah. But I mean, it would have been cool if he was like Two-Face. Like he could have been a Two-Face.
If he was Harvey Dent,
Harvey Dent, and because he was just like a side villain character kind of thing, and I think you have 3 major Batman characters in here. No one ever heard of Max, whatever his name is. Like throw him, make him Bucky Dent, make him Harvey Dent, and I think it would have been cool. I mean, I think that's what they were going for the next one, because they added Poison Ivy. No, it wasn't Poison Ivy.
No, next one's Tommy Lee Jones as
Tommy Lee Jones, and they added the Riddler. So it's I think they were going for the same kind of thing.
But if you do think about it, I know he was like a side villain, but he was like the one that sort of he fueled the Penguin. He made Selena, and which is kind of cool that he was like that. But no, I would have loved him as Harvey Dent. But again, they didn't want to do what we sometimes a lot of people bitch about. When they throw some person in the role, they're like, they'll never notice. It's like, hey, that's not Billy D. Williams.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, again, I think a part of it is because, again, Catwoman, Batman, and Penguin are such a presence on screen that his character of Max, even though he was like kind of behind everything, he takes a back seat because there's such a presence between the other 3. So, but yeah, it was awesome.
All right, so that was Batman Returns, and I think it's better than the original Batman. So I think the next movie that we're gonna do, Jamie has not seen either of the 2 movies, so it'll be good to have that debate. So the next sequel is Fright Night 2. Fright Night, and it's a 1989 version. So don't watch the crappy one from 2013. And man, talk about the person to interview that I cannot believe that I was able to chat with. Brian Thompson. He plays Bosworth in that movie, but you know him as the Night Stalker in Cobra. And he played Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. He was also in Dragonheart, plays Buffalo Bob and Joe Dirt. A ton of TV, ton of movie credits, a face you know. Unbelievable, man.
So awesome.
Yeah. So it was cool talking to him about how he started in Hollywood, how he went from theater to it. So it's a great chat that you don't want to miss out on. So don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. And don't forget to check out our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.
Good night.